Good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar on the crowd balancing platform Equigy. My name is Edwin Mesterbreutje. I will be your host for today. First, I want to explain why this webinar on the Hannover Messe 2021 is very important for us as the Netherlands. We have a Holland High-Tech House, Dutch Pavilion, and we want to stimulate cooperation in Europe on high-tech, and especially within high-tech on energy and mobility. Within this, we also have a very important strategic program starting up and also initiating cooperation between German and Dutch companies. And today, in this webinar, we have a very interesting example for this, because Equigy is a cooperation between German and Dutch companies. And we have two people who explain about the initiative and also about the opportunities of this platform. Before we start with those people, I want to introduce to you a very nice video on Equigy. And after that, I will have some nice discussions with Mr. Kerkmeester from Equigy and with Mr. Kiesling from Tenet.
The energy transition is causing the electricity system to become increasingly volatile. The energy supply is fundamentally changing due to the influx of unpredictable, weather-dependent energy sources. At the same time, energy consumption is changing due to growing demand from electric cars, heat pumps, and other consumer-based devices. This is leading to extreme fluctuations in supply and demand. Transmission system operators, also known as TSOs, need to balance supply and demand to guarantee a secure supply of electricity. Until now, we have used traditional power plants, including fossil-based ones, to achieve this balance. The long-term challenge is to better manage the huge fragmentation on the consumption side, allowing us to scale back the use of fossil fuels in some markets, limit the extension of the grid, and support a reliable energy supply for the future. Our solution is to use the flexibility of new consumer-based power storage devices and electric vehicles enabled by aggregators. These aggregators are key to how energy is stored, managed, and fed into the grid. But how can these tens of thousands of small energy transactions be balanced and validated? The answer to this is Equigy, the crowd balancing platform. Using private blockchain technology, TSOs can track all energy transactions in a secure and immutable ledger by helping to make the capacity of home storage devices visible and recording the available flexibility of electric cars. This will help TSOs to store and discharge through aggregators. To validate these transactions, we rely on original equipment manufacturers of home batteries and electric vehicles, and on Internet of Things devices, such as smart meters and charging points. Our blockchain technology opens the door to a new form of collaboration and balancing. Many consumers can participate in the energy system, reducing the use of fossil fuels in some markets. Our platform provides a unique validation option around energy transactions, and it supports security of supply for the future. Both TSOs and distribution system operators, DSOs, will benefit from this technology through data insights, allowing them to manage their networks more efficiently. Aggregators and consumers will play an active role in the energy transition, while consumers can be financially rewarded for their flexible battery capacity. Together, we enable the balancing of the renewable energy supply of the future. Equigy, crowd balancing platform.
Hello, Mr. Kerkmeester. Good afternoon. We just saw a very nice video of the Equigy platform. What do you mean by crowd balancing platform?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Edwin. A crowd balancing platform is a platform where we allow consumers with their home devices, such as electric vehicles or home batteries, to participate in energy markets. We balance the grid of the future with millions of devices with the crowd. Let me explain. As shown in the video, the energy transition is rapidly changing the whole fuel mix. We have no more big power plants in future. And today, the energy market is being balanced, or has to be in balance all the time. Demand and supply has to be in equilibrium. If there's no equilibrium, we call upon big gas-fired stations, for instance. In the future, there will be no more of these gas-fired stations, so we need to tap into the millions of devices, electric vehicles, home batteries, to balance this grid. The technology that we use today is not fit for purpose for tomorrow. And that's why we have this new platform based on blockchain to enable the integration of all these millions of devices through aggregators into the energy system.
Very interesting. Without going into too much detail, what are the opportunities for market players of this platform?
Yeah, so Equigy itself is not for profit. So we are enabling of the change. But indeed, the opportunities are there for the market players. On one hand, the consumer. Consumers will have a chance when they've invested in batteries or electric vehicles to make additional money on the use of the power in the system that they can use for energy markets. So there's something in for the consumer, but the so-called aggregators, the persons or the companies that help those consumers, there's a lot of fleet companies or other types of aggregators that we will see in the future to come. Then there's an opportunity for the OEMs themselves. Because if your car or your home battery can be used for these additional services, there will be more interest from consumers to purchase these devices. So it will increase, hopefully, the sales for these companies. And last but not least, the grid companies, the so-called TSOs and DSOs, they will use all this flexibility to balance the grid and to secure the future energy system, that the power is always on for all of us.
Yeah. It started as a Dutch and German cooperation. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit about that and also the role of the German automotive industry?
Yes, indeed. Equigy platform is a spin-out of the digital transformation program from TenneT in the Netherlands and Germany. And when we work on our solution, of course, we talk to a lot of industry and particularly also the German car manufacturers. And they told us that there are so many of these local little projects all over Europe. And they were very concerned about not having a standard across Europe. And they tasked us to go away and to find more European countries interested so that we could set one standard. And that's exactly what we did. We now onboarded Terna from Italy, Swissgrid from Switzerland, APG from Austria. So we're now active in 5 markets, and there's many more European markets that will follow. So on one hand, we'll scale now the initiative in the markets where we're active, those 5. And on the other hand, we'll increase the solution to other European markets that are not part of the solution yet.
Okay. And we have your colleague, Mr. Kiesling from TenneT GmbH together with us. Mr. Kiesling, welcome to the webinar today. Can you explain a little bit about some projects, some highlights based on the crowd balancing platform from Equigy?
Yeah, thank you very much, Edwin, for the introduction. Before I start explaining 2 important projects for us, I also will give some background information. So the energy transition in Germany is progressing very successfully. So that also means that we will see an increase of decentralized flexibility sources in the system. That means especially electric cars, but also heat pumps and home batteries. To make it concrete, there's a forecast of more than 10 million electric cars in Germany by 2030, but we will also see millions of heat pumps and home batteries. And one important task for a transmission system operator is also to support the integration in the market and the system of these decentralized assets. And the Equigy platform is an important instrument to make that happen. And we also see here, as René mentioned, a standardized approach across Europe. And we have 2 important projects started last year. As you can see, one project is a subsidized project, what we execute together with BMW for electric cars, but also with a distribution system operator Bayernwerk and manufacturer for charging equipment, Kostal, but there are also more partners on board. And what we want to test and to realize is the approach of vehicle to grid. That means that electric cars will charge electricity from the grid, but on the other hand, also feed back electricity into the grid, so bidirectional. And with this electricity, we want to balance the grid and to support balance the grid with these millions of electric cars in the future. And we will prepare for that. And that is why we are testing that with the partners and also to enable sector coupling. On the other hand, as you can see, is a project with Fissmann, and there we are focusing on heat pumps, and we also will see that heat pumps will increase within the next years because there is a wave of replacement of oil heating systems within the next years to reduce CO2. And the heat pumps, the characteristics, we also want to get know more about that, how we can unlock these flexibility sources, that these heat pumps can contribute to stabilize the grid within the next years. And that's more or less a highlight of two important projects, but for sure we also want to integrate more partners into the Equigy platform.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting, very concrete projects. Yeah, René, finally, are there any other and also maybe on the near future expectations that we also can see in the energy landscape from the platform?
Yeah, I think the energy landscape will change rapidly now. Today, energy is a pretty low interest for many people because you may switch your supplier, but it's only a few €100 that you spend per month or per year. Once people start investing in electric vehicles, in home batteries, in solar panels, you easily spend tens of thousands of euros on that. So from a low interest, it becomes a high interest thing. And the opportunity now to participate in the energy transition, to play an active role as a consumer in the energy transition, and at the same time make some money, I'm sure that the consumer from today will be the prosumer of tomorrow. So, and together with this system, I think it's the Equigy platform is a big driver for this energy transition, and it helps us to a greener, fossil-free energy world in the next decade.
Okay, thank you very much. René, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting to see what will happen in the future on this platform. Axel, also, thank you very much for your very detailed and good projects. I think this was a very good example of cooperation internationally, especially between the Netherlands and Germany. I want to thank the audience for having us in this webinar. If you are interested and you have questions about cooperation internationally, please send me an email. After this session, we will have a Teams meeting where we really want to have you because we think you have questions. Maybe you want to meet the people from Equigy and from TenneT. Maybe you want to meet me. On the Hannover Messe website, you will find the details of the Teams meeting. In a few minutes, we will be there. So we really are happy to join you and to see what questions and what maybe cooperation ideas you have. So we will start with the live streaming after a few minutes. Thank you very much.